Good morning.
Good morning and welcome to FYI. It's Tuesday,
Yeah,
the
26th. Believe it or not.
26th day of
Yeah.
April.
Would be officially payday, but I think you pay early this March is the early month.
Month is early month.
March is early
Okay,
month.
great.
Easter.
Good
Get money
morning,
early.
guys.
Yep.
Let us
Yep.
know if you can hear us.
Yep. Let us know if you're hearing us clearly. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Gavin Liverpool
Yep.
and Siobhan McDonald.
Usual.
The usual
Always
suspects.
here.
The gang's all here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Seems like we have to send out a Amber Alert. No, we're here. We're here. We had some technical issues that we had to resolve. They're trying with me, but we there.
We there, we there, we
We there, we
there.
there, we
We out
there.
here, we out here.
Good
We out here.
morning, Maureen Chichester Paul and Polly and Schultz. I see Clear Alexis Chumley and Marilyn Lorimer. Good morning. Good morning, Isabella. Yes, finally we are here. We had to overcome some issues, but we're here. And so happy to be with you guys. So just let us know if you're hearing us.
Struggle is real.
Let us know if you're hearing us loud and clear.
Please
It's a
let us know
very,
that.
very
Magnum
rainy day.
Barrow.
Very rainy
Yeah.
morning this
Yeah.
morning. It's
Yeah.
raining very heavily outside. And so let's know what the weather is like in your neck of the woods.
Rudy Hines, good to see you. Pauline Schultz, good to see you. Donna David and Maureen Lykin Edwards.
And
Yeah.
Marilyn Thomas says apologies accepted.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We do our best to come to you on
One
time.
among the many. One among the many, too.
Yes.
I've solved what's to be since. One among the many.
Stacey Mattis and Mayburn King. Good morning. Good morning, FYI family.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember to share the live stream. I noticed yesterday that our program only had 6 to 7 shares.
Mm-hmm.
And there are
Only?
at least 1,000 of you on this
Only?
morning.
Only?
So
We gotta watch that.
yes, so you know what you have to do. It's important that you share the live
Mhm.
stream so that everyone gets credible and valid
Mhm.
information.
You tell me it was 930 something Jagabad 930 something Trench Crap was watching.
I don't.
Refusing to share? No,
You have
no,
to
no.
share the
Don't
live
let me out
stream.
here looking tail.
Pollyann says it's raining in region 6-2.
Don't let us have the shares.
Anton Nicholson says he's late, but he's here. Good morning, FYI
Yes.
family. Good morning.
You haven't
Good
missed much,
morning.
Anton. Welcome.
Anton, we came on a bit late ourselves.
Yes, you haven't missed
so
much.
You're
Yeah.
you're just in time.
Right on time. Right on time. You're right there. Right
I
there.
sure will. I see Farley, but Caroline, I will do that. I will so do. Marlon Laura.
You're gonna share. I just think.
She says check her messenger message, and so I will
Okay.
check it.
Good.
Magnell Barrow. MP, you have to give us back our time. No problem. We promise. We will. We will go over time. Maureen says
Yeah.
it's raining in Rosedale, but it's cloudy in Rosedale, but no rain.
Where's Rosedale?
I think she is up in Seattle.
Seattle.
Yes, yes, yes.
Rose, that's something like expensive.
I mean,
place.
we're something like family already,
Something
so
like
we
an
know where
expensive
she
place.
is.
Yeah, Seattle.
Top of the
We got
morning,
some rest.
MPs, Maxine Monroe says.
Yeah, yeah.
Loud
Morning to you
and
too.
clear. Good morning, Reynald
Yeah.
Morrell. Share the live stream, guys, and let's know where you're joining us from this morning.
Yeah.
We have a packed program. Very,
Do
very
it.
packed. I
Once
hope.
again, your hopes up.
We have a very
That's like
packed
saying the
program
food can
this
taste
morning.
nice.
Let us know what you're
Yeah, no,
having.
say
Let's
miss.
know what you're having for
Yeah, breakfast. What you guys
for
having?
breakfast. We with
Yeah,
our
yeah,
usual
yeah.
tea this morning.
Tea
You know
dark,
how it
boy.
goes.
Tea
Carol
dark,
says good morning from
things tight this way.
Manhattan.
Wow.
JD says what's today? We have a lot of topics. There's not just one thing. I mean, we have so many segments.
Them boys.
So Naomi says,
Uh-huh.
Amanda, I love the lipstick. Why, thank you, Naomi.
Yeah.
Alexa says, good morning, MPs. Winifred says it's sun and rain mixed up weather in Linden this morning.
I thought people come for the information was the lipstick, is the curtains, the drips, it's the cups, it's
Mayburn
everything.
is watching from Hempstead, New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Isabella says Rosedale. She's in Queens.
Oh,
actually.
she's in Queens. Mm-hmm.
And so, good morning, Don Sullivan and Gladstone Matthews. Missionary Joey DeFreitas says good morning
Amen.
from the USA.
Amen.
Good
But
morning.
that doesn't say there isn't a Rosedale in
In Seattle?
In Seattle, because you know,
no, I thought that she
like
lived.
Guyana,
She said that she lived in
Seattle.
Seattle. So I
Like
was just
Guyana,
assuming
you
it
know,
was there.
there's a Good Hope in the East Coast. There's one in
On the
Essequibo.
West Coast, there's one in Essequibo. There's a union in West Coast
all
Berbice.
over.
There's a union in Quarantine. You know,
I think
there's a Fowls in
Mhm.
Myconi. There's a Fowls on the East Coast.
That's how we confuse
So-
people, you know. There's a lot of
So that
fouls.
I live in Fowls.
Lot
like
of
which
fouls.
Fowls?
And then when they run out of name, they just start giving them numbers. 42,
42.
68. We get tired. We just start giving them numbers.
Patricia
different,
Ann, good
different.
morning to you guys. Share the live stream.
Yes.
We're building up,
Yeah.
you know, before we
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into
Yeah.
the morning newspaper just now, but share the lives. Barbados is wet and under flood. What? Jaretta, please hurry up and come on.
I think she may favorite thing because we got some flooding happening here too.
And if we're gonna be flooded out,
Yeah,
be
go
flooded
home.
at home.
Be flooded at home.
Yes.
Mhm.
So as you
Flooding
guys-
like charity begins at home.
as you
Flooding
as
like
you guys
charity.
know, Jaretta was in Barbados for a meeting. We see Lacho
Mhm.
Seema. Good morning, Lacho. How are you?
Yeah.
Have a blessed day.
Yeah.
And I hope you join us for the remainder of the
I like when
program.
people come positive
that
early
you-
morning.
Yes.
I mean, like wrong midday could cost me some, but early morning, let me start nice.
It sets the tone for the day. Spice
Yeah.
Man said, so wait, Amanda and Sherrod, when will you guys offer us breakfast too?
Well, come through the man.
How you
Rock and come
getting
in.
it?
Rock and come in.
How are you getting this breakfast?
We can
We
send
don't
by
do virtual
DHL.
breakfast.
Wait, what? UPS? How you gonna take it? Yeah? How you gonna take it? You
Ah.
just tell me. Rock and come in.
See, Karen is using the opportunity to advertise.
What's he
Okay,
advertising?
He said it's taxi service.
Oh, you got a taxi service?
Yeah, well,
Oh,
y'all
man.
look at Karen.
Karen, how you gonna do it? You say, Duncan, hold a small piece. Take this thing for you. We can do it for you. Right? Karen, hit us up. 627-6963. You say, Duncan, hold something for this program to keep you all going. And we can put you out here looking
Put you
nice.
there. And you know the FYI family will
I'm
support.
telling you, we put you out there
Loud
looking
and
nice,
clear.
nice.
Stanborn says, boom.
Rock and come in.
Good morning. Kifan Smith says, good morning.
Mhm.
He's from Lamaha Park. And so Edward Gonzalez says he's in the Bronx.
Always, that's all he said. Edward stick, you know, that comment stick. Edward Gonzalez
In the Bronx.
In the Bronx. Yeah.
Raining.
In the Bronx. Flood in the Bronx. That's all. That's
Good
all.
morning, Spice Man.
Yes, that's Grenada. Grenada's in the house. Granada.
Chandel Moses.
Yeah,
Bernadette
lovely
Wyatt.
folks. Positive.
Good to see
Positive
all
start
of you
to the day.
guys. I mean,
Correct.
you know, it really does make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you come
Yeah.
on here and you feel the family, you feel the love.
Yeah.
And in the process,
Yeah.
you get valid and credible information. There's just a lot going on in the world. And
Mhm.
so it's really nice to have a positive space where you can come,
Yeah.
you can uplift each other, you can
Yeah.
interact, and you can come away with valid and credible information.
Yeah.
Because as we say, informed citizens make informed decisions.
And FYI is a safe space.
It's a safe space. It's a safe
It's
space.
in the ring you gotta worry about. Below the belt. It's that place you gotta worry about. Yeah, it's a safe space. Safe space. Relax.
Candy Nalini in there. Jeet says, good morning, Amanda and Shara.
Good to
Thank
see you,
guys.
Candy. Good to see you,
Glenford,
Candy.
Good morning to you, Glenford Gordon.
Candy's joining us from Scotland. Albany quarantine. Yeah.
On the quarantine.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
quarantine
Your kind of
people.
place. Yeah. All the way there.
Cecile Ogle, good morning to you.
Mhm.
Karen Smith. Steve Okro says he's listening.
Yeah.
Morning, Steve
Steve
Okro.
Okra every day, you know. Steve Okra every day, right? That's there.
Beverly Trim says Brooklyn
For
is
us,
in
though.
the house. Sharon Alfonso says she's watching us from Trinidad.
Good.
Amabel is with us. Hey, Amabel, good morning.
Amabel, good to see you. Amabel,
This is Spice Man says FYI is the number one morning.
I agree with you.
program.
I agree with
We
you.
agree. We agree.
I totally agree with you.
We agree.
Good to have all of you guys.
It's really good to
Pull
have
up your
all of
chair,
you
pull up
guys.
your chair, your little toast and so
Yeah.
on. And where we started, Manzo? Morning
Papers.
The morning papers.
Papers.
Morning papers. You know, some
What a go on?
some of the stuff that is making the news.
Mhm.
One, you got something's happening with this new road they opened the other day. I don't know what's happening with it, but I saw a section of it closed this morning.
Yeah.
Something's going on there.
Apparently, the section that
Something's happening there.
when it turns off, the side of the road collapsed.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Manze, I want to pretend I hear you use the word collapse.
Well, yes.
I want to pretend I hear it properly.
It was supposed to be. Where there was supposed to be road, there was no road. And so they had to do some remedial works there. But again, it really does indicate the need for us to do proper
Same road
work.
with the jumpy board?
It's the bird.
That board, boy.
The bird.
That board, truck turnover, bus run off the road fall apart. That board. Something wrong with that board.
Yeah. Irfan needs to take that board down.
Yep. Talking about Irfan, yesterday was Irfan's birthday. Moving on. Yes, it was Irfan's
Happy
birthday.
belated birthday to you guys, sir.
Yeah.
But you need to move that bird.
That bird, boy. That bird.
That bird needs to
Bird's problems.
And we have to do proper work. That entire road that the new road turns off into, it's bound by two canals, and there's no revetment.
But I thought they would have maybe fixed that road, that other road first before.
Like fix the road.
Yeah.
Stop doing substandard work. We're saying that we're spending how much billion? 200 billion in infrastructure. Revet the road so that.
And so this tea tastes like a mint falling into.
Yes, it's peppermint. Drink your tea and talk your things, man. And mind your business now.
So the road falling, folks. The new road falling. That's how we carry out. And they had to divert some traffic.
I mean, divert traffic. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's no doubt that new road really does cut the commute from, for those of us on the East Bank. But the trouble comes when you turn on to the Hagsbosh Road.
I'm happy that
bad.
the Grange administration thought of that idea, set it up nicely. If you look at a good game of football, they got the players who set up the goal, and then the stars,
But you will never, and again, this is the immaturity of our politics. You would never hear the Ali administration say that this is a project that they continued. They attempted to rebrand it. They cut the scope down tremendously.
They're attempting to rebrand a lot of things.
Right? And we're going to come to some of that later in the program.
But I think it's a whole host of things that go into these development work. Because, for instance, I saw, I think you and I were discussing this yesterday. I saw a photograph on social media, and somebody was saying, "Oh, look, cows on the road. The new road just built, and where's the pound and so on." But incidentally, that was pasture, a couple of months ago, and the cows didn't get a memo that it's off limits now.
Yeah, because so this is where they're accustomed to grazing.
All their life they've been grazing there. That was the road. That was pasture. And so they've gone back, They just want to white so hard now and look different, but
instinctively,
instinctively, that's what they got.
And they really have to. We have to stop approaching these development projects in a piecemeal manner. That Hagsbosh Road is in a deplorable state, and it's causing a bottleneck.
Yeah,
just take the resources, revet the road.
Yeah, something is wrong also with the roundabout. I can tell you that. I mean, I'm not a specialist in these issues, but like Irfan, I don't have to read the study. Something's wrong with that thing, right? Too much cars pull up there
all at once,
breaks
and nobody is sure what to do.
Something's up there.
No, I think it's education. You'll recall when the roundabout was introduced at Carfesta Avenue in Blessingen, the Ministry of Infrastructure, as it then was, did a whole video on how to use it, what the signs mean. They don't have that here. I mean, you have an upside down yield sign. We don't even know what the monument symbolizes. Is it Karen Crow? Is it Jumbie Board? What is it? We don't know. So a lot of education needed. Right? But as we said, yesterday was Irfan's birthday, and we want to move on now. Wilton Abrams, we see you there. Anne-Marie Selby, we see you. In other things making the morning papers, I see that teachers will no longer be teachers no longer require release forms to pursue their education degree at UG. And I said, well, okay, maybe they can just, go as they please now. You don't have to. Once you satisfy that you are a student, then you go,
you maybe just submit your timetable to your HM or something like that. But apparently,
or is it that all the classes are now after school?
yeah, that is exactly what they've done. So
Ah.
apparently, they've been in discussions with the university to put all of the classes after school.
Well, I think the Ministry of Education needs to make a couple of things very clear, because they were having teachers sign contracts and all of these things. Those who are getting time off to go to university. So I hope that this means that they're now free agents, and that when they go, because after school
they're
is their time,
Yeah, that's the
that
other story
they're
there.
not required to be back. So I think they need to make the terms and conditions of this whole thing very, very clear. Because this government, they're masters at obfuscating, and then when you read the fine print, it's another issue. But I really do encourage our teachers to make use of the opportunity.
Yeah, but
as far as you can.
I think another part of the discussion too, man, there has to be, it's only so much you can work. If a teacher's working 8 hours per
this
day,
is the other thing.
and then you have to go to, university full time in the afternoons. In that sense, right? What time are you resting to come back in the class in the morning?
I am not one who I will insist that teachers deliver quality work, but you will never find me bad mouthing a teacher. I'm a product of a mother that taught, like I said, for 45 years. And when you understand that they have to do their scheme, they got to do the lesson plan, so that when they're finished teaching in the afternoon, that's not the end of their job. They still have administrative work to do. And so then to have to go to university is like, how much are you able to assimilate after having worked so hard? So, I mean, kudos to our teachers. It is a shame the way this government treats our teachers in terms of remuneration and benefits and so on. And this is why we will continue to lose. We're losing our teachers. We're losing our nurses. You saw over, and these are facts and statistics. You saw over the 5 years of the APNU AFC administration, there was a halt in the numbers of nurses and teachers migrating. Over the last 2 years, that has picked up significantly, and a number of our nurses are migrating to the UK, and a number of our teachers are migrating to the Caribbean.
Well, they're kind of shutting down the nursing council to prevent that, so maybe they'll shut down the GTU.
Well, this is what we were talking about yesterday, and this is what Starbucks News was referring to. If the PPP administration, if the Ali administration cannot control an organization, they dismantle it. And so it's the same thing with the nursing council. Look, they have refused to offer the nursing program in Region 10.
Yeah.
So the Charles Rosa School is not having a nursing intake this time.
Yeah.
We have tremendous.
And that nursing school has produced some fantastic nurses. My mother's one. My aunt is another.
My eldest sister.
Yeah.
This is the sibling just before me. She is a nurse for close to 30 years.
Yeah.
And she was one of the people that had to leave to go make a better life for herself and family.
Both my aunt and my mother were the same. And to say that that nursing school has produced exceptional nurses, not only in them, but in others who have gone on to, do wonderful things that they couldn't do here on a nurse's salary.
That they couldn't do here. Sometimes when I sit and have a conversation with my sister, for example, about just the breadth and depth of what nursing there entails, you realize that we are so far behind.
Yes.
And one of the things that she keeps asking is, okay, what is needed at home? How can we, I want to come and give back, but
just stay and
it's so
preserve her mental health. Same preserve her mental health. Because that's the challenge. Lots of people want to come and give back, but there is no structured program in which you can come and contribute.
And not only that, the government and their control freakism.
Yeah.
If you are not dancing to their tune, they do not support. And so we are losing valuable input from our diaspora.
Yeah.
Don't worry with these curated programs that Foreign Affairs putting on for diaspora. They're not serious. There's no plan to really engage the vast human resources in our diaspora. Then they don't want to.
Yep. Another thing that we could talk about there too, You have that. There's not a meaningful way in which people can come in and give back. And you did mention, how we need to pick up the pace where some of these issues are concerned, because during COVID, I think that was the well, I shouldn't say during COVID as if it's past, because we're still in that the throes of COVID.
Yes.
During this period, we see all that was laid bare, and those persons who've been exposed to first world healthcare system wonder how we survive COVID. How we survive when they come in and see how COVID is being treated here.
The grace of God.
How you survive?
Lemongrass.
Some mint tea.
Some mint tea of
yeah,
the
yeah.
kind.
If I eat pineapple, stand up in the sun.
You
the other
understand?
one.
It's just the grace of God and some good, strong immune system.
Yeah.
And so, we have to get to the point where we realize that the petty nature of our politics is not going to grow this country. No, and I keep saying this, and people could vex with me if they want, but no one side has all the answers.
It's true.
The PPP don't have all the answers.
It's true.
But what they will not do, because of their egos and their pride, they will never reach across the aisle to say, look, let us do this together.
And the very way in which they govern is the one man. He knows everything. Right? And I smile at that, because if, again, people read just last week's editorial in Sabbath News, Broken Vows, you read Alan Gulsharan, Failed Project, you want to know, well, if this is the bright boy, how we there? Where we there?
What we doing?
Right? Then that's the challenge that we have as a country. How do we move this thing forward? It's all of us, one of the greatest distance runners that ever lived, Eliud Kipchoge, a Kenyan.
Yes.
Fantastic fella. There was a school of thought that said that if no human being could run under 26 miles, which is a marathon, under 2 hours, that it was not possible, right? And that fella did that thing effortlessly. It just goes to show how we're pushing the bounds of human endeavor. And he has a saying that says that no human is limited, right? He also has a fantastic saying that I kind of like. He says that 100% of me is not 1% of the team.
Yeah.
Which goes to teamwork, and he puts all his success to the team around him. We don't have that here. We have one man who says Skeldon is not going to open back, Wales is not going to open back.
And surrounded by incompetent sycophants.
Yes.
And so it's a lethal combination.
Yeah.
It's a very lethal combination.
So how we get in is 100% the he.
And
which is not 1% of the team.
Yesterday, when we were talking about broken vows, I promised that we would look at some of the numbers. Because when we talked about sugar, for the last 3 budgets, the government has spent close to $20.5 billion.
A lot of money.
On sugar. And my point was, what could that money have done? And so I was looking at the numbers last evening, and it occurred to me.
It occurred to you. Talk to us.
So when you look at it, what we were discussing is that since the government came in, they spent $20.5 billion on sugar. Now they have since said that sugar is dead, basically. They have to right size, and they're now focusing on hemp and shrimp. But so in 2021, the sugar production target was 97.4 tons. And then because of the 2021 flood, if you recall, they revised the production target downwards to 70,000 tons. The actual production was 58,000 tons. For 2022, they targeted sugar production at 66 tons. Now, why is this important? Because they targeted it lower than the year that you had the flood.
They know it's not going anyplace.
They knew that it was not going anyplace.
They know it's not going anyplace.
Right? But they also know that they would go into these communities and hoodwink people and get their way. And so what could have been done with 20.5 billion? A 12% increase for public servants. you would recall the public servants got a 3.5% increase.
Mm-hmm.
Free education, free tuition for all the students currently enrolled in university right now. And you would be able to provide 2,000 small businesses with a $2 million business grant. Now, this is not a loan, this is grant money. All of this could have been done. Can you imagine how much the suffering of the Guyanese people would have been alleviated?
Correct, that's right.
But they took that money and they plugged it into a bottomless pit. Now, this is the other problem, because you speak with the average sugar worker, and what they will tell you is that their salaries have not increased. What they did was that they got the one-off payment, which some of them did get under the previous administration, but their salaries were not increased. The reality is that this 20 billion went to paying the big guys, the top heavy management. So the ordinary sugar worker got crumbs from $20 billion.
You have an industry that is failing, but I don't think the CEO took a pay cut. CEO alone probably earned about 20,000 US a month.
US. Now each sugar worker had a payout of $1,000 US, 200,000. And so the one man at the top of this failing industry is carrying home what? How much times? 20 times what the average sugar worker is carrying home. And their future is uncertain. They're being told about hemp and shrimp. But alas.
Broken vows. Broken
Elections
vows.
have consequences.
That's what we keep saying, Manza.
Elections
That's
have
what we keep saying.
consequences.
Yeah. And people are going to have to make a choice very, very soon. Very, very soon.
Well, let's hope they choose correctly. My thing is, how many times will you accept being lied to? The AP and AFC, as hard a pill as it was to swallow, we were honest with them that this thing ain't going no way. We got to make adjustments.
Yeah.
Jack Dio and Ali came and sold them pipe dreams. Oh, they're just doing this because you are our supporters. You are still their supporters.
And they're still closing it down.
And they're still closing it down and telling you about hemp and shrimp.
Yeah. You know, I wonder because, you know, outside of the supporters, you have some pretty intelligent people. So you got a lot of people who are in the diplomatic corps here. But they must look at us and think, right? You have, outside of those promises, sugar industry, you have the IRI, International Sugar Industry, which is a decent, recognized international
honestly, I don't
organization.
I don't think that the international community appreciates the racial issue in Guyana. Because racism to them looks a certain way, black and white. I've seen a bunch of black people running around in this country. so to them, it's like, it is hard for them to contextualize it. It is hard for them to contextualize it. Racism looks to them like a bathroom here for a white man, a bathroom here for a colored man. That is not the guise in which it exists here.
Yeah.
It is far more.
Yeah. It's kicking up your daughter because
intangible.
All right. Let's just drink my tea. It's beating a 25-year daughter with a belt because
so you would see Afro-Guyanese and Indo-Guyanese frolicking and so on and so forth, but just beneath the surface.
Yes, I know about that. I know as a university student, I had lots of friends, still have lots of friends who are Indian. I know about you know that Benab, they used to be by Spicy
Absolutely.
Dish. And you congregate there after class and you laugh and tell. See when mommy and daddy come in, no, you got to go by yourself and sit down quietly.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame.
And there appears to be a generation that is intent to take us down this road. And the generation and the people who are doing it are those, frankly, the PPP elite that have a vested interest in Guyanese being divided. They want us to be at each other's throats. That way they can do what they want whilst we are distracted.
Yeah. Like give 20.5 billion to a failing industry.
But I didn't give it to the failing industry. Because if you follow the money, that money went back into their pockets. into the pockets of the CEO, into the contracts that were handed out. That money did not go to the ordinary sugar worker.
You remember there was 100,
the 7,000 or
a lot of money
are?
that was given. A lot of tractors were bought. You remember that?
Absolutely. Check and see who get the contracts.
I remember Kemraj was saying, this is wastage. No. Remember I said we can make sugar great again. We can make sugar great again.
How is that going?
Wow.
And you see, we don't say this to make fun of people, but David Granger told them, we have to right size the industry. We are going to give each, because let me tell you something. There are very few people who understand agriculture and planting like sugar workers. And you got to respect them for that. So why not upskill them in areas that they are best at? You tell them about hemp and shrimp. When you have so many cash crops that are in demand on the world market, you either upskill those who want to be upskilled, or you do what the AP and EFC was saying, allocate them lands, which had started at Wales, and let them plant cash crops.
Plant your things.
Right?
Plant your things.
Because they're good at that.
But we're going to circle back to this discussion, Amanda, for the big issue this morning. But let's start on the international front and what's happening internationally, because there are lots of stuff happening internationally, beginning with Ukraine. Your boy who was supposed to be coming here, Blinken, it's not imminent. Right, but he's in Ukraine. Maybe that's why he can't come now, because he's occupied. Otherwise, in Ukraine, along with the foreign secretary. Sorry, not the foreign secretary.
Mr. Nicholson.
Mixing up my folks.
I think his name is.
Yeah, but Mr. Blinken, the Secretary of State, is in Ukraine, and he's promising more weapons. He's promising a lot of stuff. He's saying that they're very impressed with what's happening there and the fortitude. The report we have, let me get the Defense Secretary, I think. Lloyd Austin. I was mixing up. So the report says that the United States will reopen its embassy in the Ukraine soon. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said, after he and the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin visited Kiev, promising more military aid and hailing the fight against the Russian invasion. Both men said that the fact that they were able to come to Kiev was proof that Ukraine's tenacity in forcing Moscow to abandon its assault on the capital last month. So that's how it's going. The Secretary of Defense is there along with the Secretary of State. Big showing.
Good. Very, very interesting developments. I mean, the people of Ukraine have shown a level of resilience that, is commendable. The president has surprised a lot of people. I mean, this was a man that 5 years ago was a comedian and on Dancing with the Stars in Ukraine. And here he is, but these are the types of situations in which leaders emerge.
Trump, not so much, because Trump had a show too. Trump, not so much. Not so much.
Yes, so what else is happening on the international scene?
What else is happening, guys? Nope, we're right back home. It was a quick trip. A red eye, a quick trip. Red eye. But look what's happening home, because this is a situation that we're looking at more and more. This is a situation that we're looking at more and more. And we are looking to see what comes out of it. But we know that the autopsy on Rishi Hansraj and Justin Teixeira has been proven to be inconclusive. There was a substance form they thought was found in the car where they were found in the Marriott parking lot over the weekend. They thought it was they thought the substance was narcotic. But now they're thinking it's sodium cyanide, and they sent it overseas for testing. And I see, just like you, I saw somebody just like you. You made a comment yesterday morning, Amanda, that this you made a comment about the testing, the fact that it's so many years later we can't even test right here for cyanide. And there's a whole letter to the editor on that front this morning on that. But again, the what do you call it? The postmortem examination, the PME. That has been inconclusive. But more than that, you remember the news was saying I don't know how they got around to that, but they were saying that Justin Teixeira was employed with American Airlines, and American Airlines wasn't having it. They came out yesterday and said that Justin wasn't employed with them.
Well, it depends. It depends because it is entirely possible that he could have been a third hire. In the airlines industry, a lot of the crew that you see are not necessarily employed directly. So I'll be interested in.
But I think
delving
I'm
into
gonna
that
give.
some
I think I'm
more.
gonna give American Airlines.
No, because you see, he may not have been directly employed with American Airlines. He may be
Yeah.
employed with a subcontractor. It just depends. So because I understand aviation, I'm not at liberty to say, well, yes, maybe they're absolutely right. I'd want to know that he was not hired by a third, by a contractor.
But for my own simpleton mind, I think if American Airlines says
Say you're walking there.
yes, I walking with you. I working with you, not to make light of the situation.
No.
But that was another twist to it because this issue here.
It's a very, very.
Yeah.
It's a very,
Yeah.
very. The PME being inconclusive. There's just a lot happening.
A lot of twists and turns.
There's so much for the families to deal with. You're already dealing with the loss of a loved one, and then, So I mean, our thoughts and prayers go out to them again, and we really do pray for strength. For them because that could be a very, it's a very trying time.
It is very much so, and they have been. I think their family could not have been more, what do you call it, distraught by all of this stuff that's being said because there are lots of conjectures out there. There's lots of what happened here.
People stop conjecturing. Just send
like
love and light.
We
to
know.
people,
We know that we were there.
Let's focus our energies on what we need to focus on. These two young men are gone.
Yeah.
Bashing them, bad talking them, it serves no point, and it just opens wounds, for the families.
Yeah.
So.
And one of the challenges too, when you look at the situation, as I said, it's young men, young people now,
with their lives ahead of them.
That's something to do. The other issue that we're following up on our end this morning is what's happening at, for instance, Tocqueville Secondary. You talked about what 20.5 billion was spent on. Could you imagine being in a school and you touch the wall and you get in shock?
Yeah.
They'll never have the PC. They'll never have the PC.
No.
Yeah. You touch the wall and you get in shock. And there's been a persistent problem there. So, these children bright. It's either they give enough electricity there.
And then there's flooding, there's water.
So, it is so
this combo.
The issue there, it is so ironic in a sense because one, we learned that like the rest of the city on Sunday they had a long blackout there, and people were trying to do some work. We were made to understand teachers that were there Sunday trying to do some work, and then you have blackout. But then when the light come back, like there's too much light. They got any excesses there. You get in shock literally. Right? Could you imagine that? You get in shock. And then an education official tells you, go back and teach.
The prayer just fix this issue. I mean, please, just get it fixed.
And then you have an accumulation of water there too. That's what the teachers and students tell us.
So there's
and it's not just rain.
Not from rain, but there's no running water in the building.
There's no running water in the building.
These are the things that they need to preoccupy themselves with and get down to taking care of the business of the people of Ghana.
20.5 billion. The traditional industry and schools struggling with furniture because when we spoke of that story, folks messages and say, we don't have furniture. And it's not only in the city, this is on the West Bank, some other places. We don't have furniture. We're still waiting, we're still hoping. 20.5 billion. We threw at the sugar industry.
Yep, and there are people who are going to try to defend the indefensible.
Yeah.
That is the other part that will keep us where we are.
Yeah. You know what I think is a challenge? That for some people, like some members of this administration, they don't live in this economy. They thief a lot of money and they've been able to do stuff. Yeah. But they don't live in this economy.
In the economy.
If they live in this economy, they would never spend 25 billion the way they spend it there.
20.5 billion.
Right? Yeah. 20.5 billion. They would never spend it like that. Right? They're not good stewards.
That's an important point.
No. If they had families to take care of and you got to juggle 100,000 when the month come with
Can
2
you
and 3
imagine?
children and a wife or a husband.
And one bottle of cooking gas is $5,000.
You would know where you are. Right? That's the trouble that you have. They don't live in the economy.
And what does that lead to? It leads to an upsurge in crime. It leads to an upsurge in corruption.
Yeah.
And what we keep saying is that you have to tackle the economic issue. Guyanese don't have disposable income. We don't have disposable income. We read a text from a young man yesterday. It said it's impossible to save even $15,000 a month.
Yep.
But
Those are some of the challenges we have.
Okay.
Those are some of the challenges they have. 20.5 billion. You know, one of the stories that I think we missed from the morning trend, the fact that there was an accident at Mabura yesterday.
Yeah.
Mansley was swerving from a pothole, lost his life. Potholes killing people. It's 2022.
And we're still running elections on roads, on lights.
Water.
Can you imagine? You
Water.
know how galling it is. I have relatives that live in various islands in the Caribbean, and you go there, and blackout is not a thing. And in 2022 in Guyana, but them boys and cakers, when the lights come off, their backup power
Exactly.
switches on and so on. So it doesn't.
Don't bother them. That's it. You don't live in the economy, right? And then if you're
You live in Guyana, but you don't live in the economy. I think that is such a brilliant distinction.
Your transportation is paid for. You have to come and
You're gonna
feel the
ask,
effects of the roundabout. You want to block off, you just
any
pass.
one of them, what is the cost of a packet of fern leaf milk in the shop? They don't know.
They don't drink fern leaf milk. They don't drink fern leaf.
But that's the milk of the average Guyanese.
Right? Don't drink fern
And
leaf.
it's $600 a packet.
Right? Don't drink fern leaf.
You know? So how are because
drinking fern leaf is like asking me if I go by City Mall and shop. City Mall, aka Van Cliff and Arpels. Van Cliff and Arpels. That's City Mall for some. You don't live in the economy.
Yeah.
Right? How many guys can afford a pair of shoes for 5,000 US? A handbag for 12,000 US. Right? You don't live, so you don't feel.
But the money is the taxpayers' money. That is what public servants who might be listening to us right now.
Yeah. The man had to swerve.
That's what you supporting.
The man had to swerve from the pothole and lost his life because he know the wear and tear in his vehicle. Right? Some people could drive in every pothole because the state paying for the repairs of the vehicle. You could drive all over the country in any terrain because the state pays for that.
And I want to this story about this TSU rank that was sleeping and that has been suspended now, I think, because he was on duty for close to 24 hours is what we're learning, and he was exhausted. But more important to me is, how is he at Harry Gill's house? Why is a member of the Tactical Services Unit guarding Harry Gill's house?
Harry Gill is an advisor, something.
Yeah, but I am a member of parliament. You are a member of parliament. And that is not a facility afforded to us. And we probably need it more than Harry Gill does. And then he has the temerity to embarrass the young man on camera because he has been working without relief far past the time. What is he doing there in the first place? How is that? How many more instances? And maybe we should ask these questions of the minister in parliament. How many more instances of our TSU ranks doubling as security guards? How does that impact the investigative capacity and the response capability of the Guyana Police Force? But Harry Gill puts this video on Facebook and be like, oh, he's sleeping, he should be fired, without understanding and addressing their minds to all of the surrounding circumstances. We have got to stop being
Which is the point I was making. Which is the point I was making with the teachers. Because sleep is important, whether you're a soldier or police.
Absolutely.
Right? Sleep is important. Sleep is how you recharge. You know, just recently I was looking at, for my own purposes, better sleeping techniques. I often wake up with a headache. Sleeping is important, is a very important facet of life.
Absolutely.
Rest and recharging,
That is how the
recuperating,
body
to go.
recharges and rejuvenates. And so this is not slavery.
Yeah.
You understand? People are not slaves. And if a man is to be relieved, like what kind of human being do you have to be? You have to be there has to be something wrong with you. And the reality is that you must see that person as not a human being or as less than yourself to do that. No right thinking person would do that. You go say, hey buddy, what happened? How come? You're still here? What happened? Your relief ain't come yet? That is what another human, that's how another human being treats another human being. Not put them on camera and expose them.
You know, there was an instance, as you mentioned that, at a minister of this government's house, where there was not even toilet facilities provided for the rank. You had to go next door.
Can you imagine?
There was a business next door. They got to go next door and ask them to use the washroom. We're different here. We're different. You were talking about crime early on and some of the stuff that happening in terms of crime. This is what has been making the rounds recently. Sonia Parag's niece, Zanil Williams, and I said Sonia Parag for a particular reason. Her niece, her sister's daughter, was held with cocaine at Chedijagan International Airport over the weekend. And one of the points we were making last night on our program is that the minister is not her niece, and her niece is not a minister.
And I think that is an important distinction, because I was going to say that fair is fair, and we keep it 100 on this program. I'm not responsible for what my niece does.
Yeah.
Right? What I am interested in seeing is whether the minister's portfolio will have an impact on the way this young lady is dealt with. Because I'm already concerned about sentencing pending a psych evaluation. Right? Because you have a ghetto youth that dealing with all kinds of things. This young lady, as far as you're aware, comes from a very privileged background. But you're going to have a ghetto youth hungry, and he might got a 3 ounces of ganja on him, and you put him down for 3 years.
Yeah. And Zanila had 9 kilos of cocaine.
Yeah? This is 9
in her
kilos
purse,
of cocaine
strapped to her body.
that you palavering with through the system.
Yeah.
Through the airport. And let's see how it goes.
The other reason why I raised this issue, Amanda, the other reason why we raised this issue here, because one would sense there'd be a lot of quiet in the National Assembly now, because there used to be a lot of voices from the government saying that there was somebody in the opposition whose brother was caught, was held with cocaine. So one would suggest now, one would think there'd be a lot of quiet on that side now, because again, people don't understand. My sister, my uncle.
It's not me.
Right.
I am responsible for my actions. I can't be responsible for my brother, what my niece does. But like I said, I'm looking to see
the impact
whether Lady Justice is wearing a blindfold in this case, because it's 9 kilos. And they got some youths whose lives are interrupted because they had a spliff or 3 ounces
and then
you see down for 3 years.
And then you see, I noticed the Attorney General came out very strongly against when some gentlemen were offered bail for a cocaine issue. That's number one. And then also there is a tendency in this country when there are friends and family and so on, you hear the DPP gone for legal opinion in 3 years. And we've highlighted numerous cases here where legal opinion still hold it. The Vice Chair of Region 6 knocked down a gentleman, knocked down a person, died. That resulted in a fatality. That issue still waiting legal opinion to find out whether what should be done.
A young teacher lost his life, young productive citizen.
Right.
And these are the things that we need to tackle frontally, or else the rot and decay that we're seeing will continue.
Yeah.
And the point has to be made that the only people that these people have the ability to hop on a plane and move their whole family when this thing goes south.
Yeah. And you know why I think it's important to Amanda? Because there's a lot of double standard in journalism, a lot of double standard locally. For instance, the former chancellor of the judiciary, what's his name? Whose son is has the issue currently? Carl Singh. Now, Carl Singh is not a major actor right now, but I noticed his name is tagged along. former chancellor's son, right? But I didn't see one news report here, right? Especially people who are aligned to the administration, who said Minister Parag's niece. And that is the double standard you have in journalism.
But she's also very connected to, I think her stepfather is a known government supporter. He's very loud on his Facebooks and otherwise his posts and so on, in terms of the rhetoric and the line that he pushes. So for it to have even reached this far, I'm in shock. You know, I am in shock. And so it's a situation that we're going to continue to monitor. I am waiting with bated breath. Because what we will begin to demand is that half of the ghetto youths that are in the prison for 3 ounces of marijuana have a psychological evaluation too. Evaluate all of them.
And you know, there are some, and you touched on it earlier, and as you said, we got to come back and have sometimes a fuller discussion on this issue. That sometimes the diplomatic corps don't understand, you know, the threads of this thing in this country and how there are different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, and this is why programs like these are important. And this is why it's important that as citizens, you make your voices heard. Because they need to hear from the average man. When last Mark Phillips or any one of them go in the store to buy a bread, they don't know that a loaf of bread is $400.
Well, last time we saw Mark Phillips, I think he might be having too much bread. But that being said, that is
so this is where citizen advocacy is important. Because it can't be just the opposition. Because when it is the opposition alone speaking, it's that they're just creating mischief. It's the opposition, that's what they got to do. But when the average man, like look how Crab Man get out there and tell what he had to say. Look at how the gentleman whose tractor got stuck. He made a video. He said, "Plane, we better go ask Bag Ranger because
nothing irregular.
And that is the kind of advocacy that you need to have happening here. So I will be monitoring this issue very, very closely because this thing about a psychological evaluation has implications for other people.
I don't necessarily know what are the procedures when somebody's held with cocaine at the airport. But from the reports, I think I compared a number of them, and they all said that the young lady, Zenil, was held with cocaine at CGIA, and then when she was transported to the Kanu headquarters and they did another check, they found that she had cocaine strapped to her body. So I was just wondering whether, you know...
So they didn't do that search on her person there?
Yes, that's what I was thinking, you know, whether there was a different kind of treatment afforded.
Right, because normally... They search every nook and cranny up at the airport.
Yeah,
so
I
what is that about?
If you transport a second location, because I noted that, you know, the whole thing seemed a little bizarre to me. But that being said, who are the intellectual authors? Because from what I know, from what is in the media, this young lady worked for DPI, and now made a transition to ferrying 9 kilos of coke with a street value of $5 million, $300,000 US. I mean, unless she got a farm somewhere.
She appears to be
Where's she getting that from?
She appears to be intelligent, so I'm not sure. Why she felt the need to go down this path. And frankly, I mean, there are people with less. She seems to come from a very privileged background, and there are people with far less who have committed far less harmful acts. And they've been lost away in the system.
I don't know, Amanda, that is the crux of the matter that nobody wants to talk about. That thing that you said, it is seething just below the surface there. We covered on our affiliate program last evening in the ring, a young woman who working for a telecommunications company, went off, cashed it off, 1.7 million, But when you look at these folks, right? There is no suspicion, and people are at ease in their company and so on. But some other folks, you might clutch your purse
because
a little
the
closer.
reality is that we have been conditioned to think that crime and criminal activity has a particular phase.
Yeah.
And that's the reality.
Has a particular
And
you.
listen, we in the business who said that we be being racist or stoking. That is not the fact. The reality is that somebody at some point has to speak out about these biases that we possess, and we got to confront them. Right? We got to confront them. Carted off 1 point, how much million?
1.7.
Right? But a man who is dead tired because he has not been relieved, walking honestly, is maligned on social media. Yeah, come for me if you want to. But the point is that we're going to talk about these things. We're going to talk about these things. I have had enough of the foolishness. If we want to continue to pussyfoot and to not deal with these issues, then let's do that. And let's go wrong in a circle for the next 50 years and become a failed state. Or we can decide that we will deal with these issues frontally, call out the biases when we see it. A lot of people talk about, I saw a post, somebody shared it, oh, does Guyana really have a race problem? Yes, we do.
Yeah. It's right there.
Yes,
right there.
we do.
It's right there.
You see it when you go into the banks, into certain banks. There's a latent, I don't know if it's latent, it's just under the surface, a level of contempt in interactions.
Yeah.
We can talk about it.
I was about to say something, I'm not going to leave it.
You understand? There's a level of contempt for certain interactions. I'm going to the bank for my money. You had better bloody well serve me properly.
I have a colleague. I put it this way. I have a colleague. And her son, if you see him, he's Indian. His father's Indian. And he has, let's say he has some challenges where some relationships are concerned. Because he likes Indian girls. But when they come home, right? You know, there's a movie. Guess who's coming to dinner?
Yeah.
Right. When they come home and you realize mommy is black.
Oh, do you see that? And these are the things that we have to talk about, Guyana, because these are the things that are just beneath the surface that they like to paint this one Guyana platitude over. And what they don't say is that we can remain one Guyana as long as you remain beneath me.
Yeah. You know what is leadership? Leadership is confronting the issues. You remember when Professor Yates in the US was arrested because the white policeman thought he was breaking in a house? Educated, brilliant professor, right, in this opulent neighborhood around the university campus. And white police officers thought he was breaking in a house. Man living there is in my house. You understand? Barack Obama had a conversation on race.
Right.
I think they had a beer summit or something. It was, you got to lead the conversation, not glass over it and put a jumpy board.
This is what this.
Sorry, no,
This is what the PPPC administration is doing. They are pretending that the issue is not there. The issue is there. It is front and center. And any leader worth their salt will confront it.
Which is much of what they do with everything else, even issues concerning domestic violence. The most abusive people.
Gloss over it.
Right?
Gloss over it.
Everybody stays quiet. It didn't happen. Darren didn't say they'll do it. He didn't say. Nobody comments. And hopefully it goes away. But the same nasty fella.
Almost a Kafkaesque type.
Yeah.
It's
right? A nasty person given the title of minister is just a nasty minister. Right? It doesn't change. And you say, leadership don't conceal, it just reveals.
Leadership conceal. Leadership does not conceal, it reveals. Listen, Sherrod, these are the hard conversations.
Nobody wants to have, but it's right there.
But we got to have it. And this is what we as FYI, we will continue to have these conversations. Because my God, if we could edify 10 people, maybe they could edify 10 more. And we start a chain reaction of becoming a more enlightened citizenry. We dealing with too much of basic things. And we Guyanese in the diaspora are some of the most brilliant people, some of the most brilliant minds.
Correct.
Why are we not harnessing that nonsense that I got up there on the roundabout?
Jumpy bird. The jumpy bird.
Look at how you could have fostered innovation Irfan just had to call a competition.
Mhm.
You understand? Come up with a concept, do a design, and fund something.
But you would
And
never call a competition if you think you got all the answers.
it's how much million we
Right.
pay for that thing?
That must be 20.5 billion.
Can you
itself.
imagine?
But jumpy board.
Over $10 million
yeah,
for that.
Mhm.
And then you're standing by the artists as if that somehow it does what? Look,
You're
we
just
need to
standing
get
by
real.
mediocrity. If there's mediocrity, it's time that you just stand by it.
Marriage
You don't change
to
it.
mediocrity. We gotta stop loving to be mediocre. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's really ridiculous. We didn't even get to the main issue
Yeah.
yet.
We coming down. We coming down. So we have to deal with that. And then, for instance, you got some big issues happening. There's so much happening. There was this project that was started by the previous administration in which they approached the World Bank for some money to strengthen the scrutiny of the oil sector. But don't let boys like the word scrutiny, they still put up a hole. I even got really rest for you. Them boys put up a hole. And this is being reported out of Kaito News. And when I know a lot of people don't do this, and maybe I've even missed my cue here in the notes. But I like to mention the journalists, and Kiana Wilberg, I think, is a journalist on
Kiana
this,
does such
doing
an
some fantastic work,
excellent
and I wanted to
job.
say that.
She does an excellent
Yeah.
job of covering the oil and gas
Yeah.
sector. I
Yeah.
mean, clearly the lady has applied herself.
Yeah.
She has garnered the requisite knowledge, and so
Yeah.
she really does. She's somebody who acquits herself of her portfolio so well.
Yeah.
So,
And I
Kiana,
want to say to folks, we
well
have
done.
to very soon enough. I don't see it a lot here because usually the trend is young people either go to these institutions, media houses, fresh out of high school, work study or so on, and they stay on, or fresh out of high school, and you learn on the job. And lots of times, what you learn on the job is not the right thing, especially if you have people who came the same way.
Yes.
So you need that marriage of experience and the theory.
Yes.
So you cannot be that. You cannot
Absolutely.
be the theory being
Absolutely.
matched with the practical.
And we have to raise the level of journalism.
That is what I'm heading to.
me,
That's what I'm heading
to
to.
me, people like Gordon and Kiana, like if I read something from them, I feel fairly comfortable that it is. I looked at that article that Gail Teixeira said the IRI poll lacks credibility. People just regurgitated it with no information to the public as to whether there is an ethics committee convened or any such thing. Just regurgitated, this is what she said. No, they don't go further to say.
You want to bring something to it.
Like bring context
You got to bring
to the
something.
thing.
And see, this is where if you've been mentored by a good journalist in the profession, then you might be a little better off. But if you come through the system of rigorous learning and so on, you would know that sources are important. Fact checking. Not because somebody says it's minister or otherwise mean, right? They got some ministers lie like when harsh chatting.
Well, we
And Gail like bluff.
Yeah.
Gail is a bluff.
Yes.
Right? Stand for the National Assembly. Mr. Chairman, point of order. What's the standing order?
What is the standing order?
You don't know what's the standing order. Right?
But journalists, and is where state they are?
The fourth
estate. The fourth estate. They have a key role to play in terms of holding governments accountable.
Yeah. And I want to say something, Manza. Isabel Young is a decent journalist. But Isabel Young is not special.
Right. That's the standard of journalism.
Right? Isabel Young
exists in
came as
developing
the
countries.
one-eyed man in Blind Man Kingdom. And so she stood out because where she got the facts from, it was always there. But you got to pursue the truth wherever it leads. You see, if you want to stay in an office and do WhatsApp journalism or Facebook journalism, then you would never get information. She had to left she reach a comfort and come on the ground. Right? And do the work.
Yep. And so journalists, again, have to begin to do their job without fear or favor. The reality is that when they're covering the opposition, there's no holds barred. But they don't understand that as journalists and as the media, Your greatest job is to hold those with the power accountable.
Mm-hmm.
The government got the government purse,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the numbers in parliament.
Yeah.
We have the role of advocacy and informing and holding the government accountable. Who should you be scrutinizing the most? But they're up in the opposition
Us.
business. Instead of holding the
Yeah.
people who are in the driving seat, installed though they might be.
Because the government said, trust us, and they believe that. Trust we, man. I don't worry about all the numbers and the figures. Trust we.
And everybody wants an easy
Yeah.
time. You see, to be a reporter of integrity and that will stick to the.
Yeah. So you aren't going to
Easy
see
time.
you aren't going to see a column like that, for instance, in Chronicle that says that this project to scrutinize the oil sector has been halted,
Has been haunted.
right?
And
can see
the
that
question is, why would you do that?
Why would you do it?
You got
Why?
the EITI of a professional, Dr. Jadupad. You put a hatchet man from Mizir.
That sounds like a narrative
Yeah.
developing there to me.
And then
I
you
think you're
halt the
telling me why.
project
I
for the
think you're telling-
scrutiny.
I think you're telling me why.
It don't take rocket
Right?
science.
Petroleum
The board
Commission
on the wrong the
still
boat to
out there.
figure it
Yeah,
out.
Right? That's why the board says stun is the issues. It's the issues the board confronted every day. Right? You know what it is to come wrong there, wrong about and give the level of hate every day. You can be still. Bigger yellow, chair. Right? Bigger yellow. You imagine coming around the turn, like you see the big yellow. I see the first time you run the path, okay, to run after you roll the turn over. Folks, this is how we register despair. But that being said, the people put the thing on pause. So they don't want to listen to the World Bank on that. They're not going forward with that. Now the issue we're looking at, IMF has advised against the national oil company. Because you know they're trying with this, right? Like Scotland, they want to make oil great. So they're trying with this national oil company.
Well,
right? They're trying with this.
listen, like I've said, you have seen enough flip-flopping to know that it's not going to work out well. It ain't going to end well.
We see this movie before.
It's not going to end well.
We see it before. Billions. We see it before.
It's not going to end well. I cannot get over that.
Them boys different. Them boys very different. And again, we're gonna head to the big issue. Skip a couple issues in the interest of time. But this is a big issue we're looking at. The previous administration's decade of development versus what they're now touting as the fourfold path to transformation, which is the decade of development all over again.
Have no shame.
Yeah, but these people put up the jumping board, man. Shame. Right? So David Granger had this concept of the decade of development, and the PP now have this concept, a fourfold path to transformation. It's interesting because they had a whole manifesto.
Tell me about it.
Right?
That they had this fourfold path.
The fourfold path, it was a minus one fold. Right? So in this
50,000 jobs going, but anyway,
that's one of the folds. It's one of the folds. The journalist on this, it's a decent young man, Navindra Sioraj, I hope I have his name right, on Chronicle.
Okay.
And in his writing, he says that the framework is being crafted for Ghana's future. So we didn't get it yet. Them boys now in the workshop, hitting it. So the manifesto wasn't it, They're now crafting this framework for Ghana's future.
What does it say?
Right? They said with emphasis on investment of oil funds into education, health, infrastructure, and development of non-oil sector. Right? Again, emphasis on education, health, infrastructure, and development of the non-oil sector. That's your fourfold transformation. All right.
So what are we doing?
The Granger's decade of development. And it was such a brilliant way to force people to think, because we don't think like that. As people, we think tomorrow.
Absolutely.
We think tomorrow.
Absolutely.
What do you need tomorrow, boy?
And you listen to me. You say what you want about the man. You may have your views on him. But one of the things that he was able to enunciate very early in his presidency, not in the middle of it, crafting a plan. But I'm quoting something he said here on the 26th of May 2015. We must now look to the future. We must turn our efforts and energy not towards destroying one another, but defeating the real enemies of our people: crime, disease, ignorance, and poverty. The four horsemen of the Guyanese apocalypse. And so he set out a plan, and he conceptualized the green state, the digital state, the education nation, and the building of a petroleum state. And this article out of the Chronicle says these four processes portend bright prospects. And they went on to say,
that's 2016, is it?
This is 2015.
2015, wow.
This is a
four process.
This was when the decade of development was announced, building on what was said in 2015. And so you see just a rank. They just cannibalize the man idea. Nothing new and original, and come with this fourfold path.
Put that chummy board on top of it.
As a gift, as a ribbon, as a bow, and call it a plan.
Yeah. Fourfold.
Nothing original.
They said the emphasis on education, health, infrastructure, and development of the non-oil sector. Well, I know how they're going to do that because sugar gone.
Sugar gone. And
rice going.
Showed the numbers.
Yeah.
Rice is down.
Rice going.
Sugar is down. Gold declarations are down.
Right. So I don't know what they intend to do here.
But just cannibalize a man idea and rebrand it as your own.
So from decade of development to fourfold path.
Fourfold path.
To thing.
No,
well, I hope it's not like this new road here that's falling apart. I hope it's four lane. I hope it's not like that.
The issue remains that as Guyanese we have to stop falling. For the lies of the PPPC administration.
And it's interesting that it wasn't the president that introduced this fourfold path to the future.
Introduced it. So what? So is one Guyana a fourfold path? Are these two gentlemen pursuing their own different agendas?
One Guyana with a fourfold path.
No one would think that such an important announcement would come from
No. That's not what we do it here. No.
You know, I've lived long enough to see that we will have some serious regrets as a nation if we don't change course very, very quickly.
And it all started with a jumpy board.
I beg to differ. It started way before then.
No. You see, what they're attempting to do, you remember what we used to have by what Gwen just started doing? As a new ambassador is accredited, you go by the they used to go and lay wreaths by what do you call it? The Independence Arch. There used to be a beautiful activity there. Then come and lay wreaths here just now. You gotta come by the jumpy board. It's not really heading to, you know.
The thought of that is frightening.
Yeah, see, they unveil a big photo of Irfan by the airport. Now, as soon as you come through, there's another jumpy board watching.
But look,
you know, that's how we register this spirit. We coping, folks. We coping.
This is our coping mechanism. Because when you sit and you look at the future, and you know, Irfan Ali would want to say, "Oh, you're naysayers and all of that," but you have to take a sober look at what is happening. Why would a government stop a project that is intended to strengthen scrutiny of the oil sector? It's because you don't want scrutiny. And this talk about investment, the government is not interested in real investment, because proper investors will demand a particular level of transparency and governance. Because coming from the countries that they come from, they're required to have that infrastructure in place to do business overseas. So what you're going to see is that they're going to be going to a lot of shady people from certain countries that are not bound by these legal requirements.
Maybe Iceville Young was onto
So
something.
all of this flim-flamming that
Yeah.
they're about, I mean, we as Guyanese have to wake up.
Smoke and mirrors.
We have to wake up
Yeah.
and we have to see this for what it really is. And we have to demand more, and we have to demand that we be included
Yeah.
in this development, and that we take this thing seriously, full transparency, allow our institutions to function, and set us on the road towards an inclusionary democracy.
Mhm.
You know, we're talking about constitutional reform and we're barely observing the one that we have in place. You know, it is. But Sharon, we will continue.
We have
talk
to. There's a broad
every
topic.
morning,
Yeah.
and to
Broad
bring
topic.
valid and credible information. to
Man
the
said tell them about
Guyanese
this shit. I think they listen to you. They don't listen to me.
people.
Right?
We want to tell
Don't go out here looking 10 with.
You have
80
to
share.
share, 6 to 5 share.
Listen to man, sir.
Come on, man, we can do better. They have close to 1,000 people viewing us right now
Mhm.
on one platform.
Mhm.
And if every one of you were to click this live stream,
Sure.
or maybe they want the people know that they're
The
watching.
people, the jack was trying to post that pose and cricket. Carry close
But
it,
keep
jumping.
coming for valid and credible
Yeah.
information.
Makes
And
a
we're going to
difference.
keep
Makes a
bringing
difference.
the facts to
Yeah.
you. I mean, there's just so much that we
Yeah.
can cover.
Whole day
But
we can sit down here.
yeah, but what we want to do is just get in depth and not
Yeah.
deal with the issues
Yeah.
superficially.
We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do, and I hope that some of you guys, rededicate yourselves to the struggle.
Yeah.
And this is what it is,
and
struggle.
To dedicate
You
my
see you out here
energies
drinking black tea, struggle.
towards the happiness and prosperity
Yeah.
of Guyana.
Yeah.
We say that in the pledge. And
Struggle against the government, struggle against the jumpy bird. Just what
the
it
struggle
is.
is real.
The struggle is real.
But guys, that's our program for this morning.
Mhm.
Thank you for joining
Yeah.
us. We have a few subcommittees of Parliament and so on. So it's a
I am
pretty hectic
suspension,
day.
so you talk to yourself. Suspended and proud.
It's a very
I've
hectic
been
day
recharged.
today.
I can
but
take another 6
you
months.
can take another 6 months. So you come in there, I should say, we're
Suspended
mad
and
up
proud.
again.
Suspended and proud.
But guys,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us, and remember to share the live stream and smash the emoji buttons. There's so many ways that you can partner with us.
I thought when I do it, I look like a jumpy
So
bird.
yeah, so stop.
Well,
there
jumpy
are a
bird.
number of ways that you can partner with us
Yeah.
to bring this information.
Yeah.
And so Sharon,
I said, man,
listen,
rattling
I'm
tongue.
terrible with numbers.
It happens over
I don't
time.
remember phone numbers.
Oh, yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
So, Sharon, take it
We
away.
got Zelle, we got PayPal, we got Cash App, MMG, you name it. We're also available by MoneyGram, by Western Union. You need some guidance? WhatsApp us. It's 21st century, folks. WhatsApp us on 627-6963. Of course, if you're overseas, you got to put in the area code. It's 592-627-6963, and we can tell you how you can partner with us in this way. That's it.
So thank you guys. Have a great rest of the day. Sharon has not pulled up the comments, so we can.
Oh,
shout
yeah,
out
you,
our
you know
people
what?
and so on
No,
and so
stop that.
forth.
Stop that.
Chanel
No.
Belgrave and
Juliet
Tamika
Benjamin.
Webster, Rudy Hines. Thank you guys for joining us.
Morning,
Helene
Candy. Morning.
Inderjeet,
Morning.
and
Say hi to
Anne-Marie
Marky.
Roberts.
It's family here.
It's family, yes.
Yeah. Say hi to
Like
Marky.
Mingo Byrne and Maureen
Hope he's out to bed.
Williams.
Lynette
Thank you for
McAllister.
joining us,
Yeah.
guys.
Deborah Clark out of Barbados.
Yes,
Yeah, Deborah.
and
Anne-Marie Roberts. Good to
and
see you.
Marie,
Yeah.
and Maureen says she's going back to Seattle this afternoon. We'll have a safe trip.
Yeah.
Charlotte
Walking the corridor.
Joseph. Oh, look, Paul. Paul, we missed you.
Paul Passard, welcome,
Passard.
welcome.
We're so happy to
Yeah.
have you
Good
here
to
this
see you.
morning.
Pace and
Hey,
power.
Rowena
Yeah, good to
and
see you.
Claire Capel.
Yeah.
Good morning, guys.
Little Preck.
Good morning. Lettel Preck is here.
Yeah,
Guys.
some fancy names, though.
Glenford Gordon.
Yeah, good to see you, Glenford.
Keith Dowling and Penelope Hudson.
Sherlanda Beresford.
Sherlanda
Good to see you guys.
Beresford.
It's good to see you. I
Guys,
think this is the only program in the world
thank you.
to give
Shout out.
our fans,
This
our
is the power of
supporters.
social
Yeah.
media. You see,
21st century.
you
Right.
see, they locked us out of the government media. And so, we'll make use of social media platform. And this is why it is important that you share the live stream so that people can get credible information.
Yeah.
We passed an appropriation bill in the National Assembly funding the state media, but the opposition cannot carry programs
Yeah.
on state media because
Yeah.
that is how a dictatorial regime operates.
But I don't
And
mind. I
so-
don't want them telling me how much time I must talk.
Yes,
Anyhow.
yes. And so, guys, share the
Yeah.
live stream.
That as we're on social media, man. So yesterday I saw that Elon Musk, I think, bought out
Twitter.
Twitter, 44 billion. I was about to do it, but he beat me to it. 44 billion.
Yeah.
I was just
You
about
got
to.
it like that, huh? You're rolling deep.
44 billion US dollars. Can you
Yes.
imagine that?
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
44 billion.
That's a lot
And
of
we
money.
think we got money.
Yeah,
We
you
got
know.
6 billion.
Well, but you know,
Buy one company.
but a little goes a long way here
Yeah.
in Guyana.
Yeah.
You know,
44 billion.
So, guys, thank you for joining us, and remember to go out there and make it a great day.
Yeah.
Stay safe, guys.
From our kitchen to yours, to your living rooms. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe. That's our time.